Today I'm going to show you how to build Raylib on AmigaOS4 natively. Now, why would you want to do that when there are precompiled packages available? I showed that in a previous video. Or maybe you found a bug that you want to fix. Or maybe you want to make the OS4 port of Raylib better. Like, for example, being able to compile out of the box without having to build any external dependencies, just like it does on other platforms. That would be awesome, by the way. Anyway, let's get started. Let's build this thing. First up, there are some things you'll need to install. So you will need the OpenGL ES2 and Warp 3D Nova SDKs, which you can get from AOM Technologies Software Enhancer Pack version 2.2 or newer. And after that, you're going to need CLib4. There is a way to build Raylib for newlib, but I personally think just use CLib4. And to get that, you will need the SDK add-on, which you can get from GitHub at this URL. And you are probably, unless there's a new browser for AmigaOS, you are probably going to need a different computer to do this, because as you can see over here, GitHub is no longer working on Odyssey, on the latest version of Odyssey. After that, you will need to get CMake, the CMake port for Amiga. And that one is also on GitHub, so you will also need to fetch it from this URL on another machine. And then, I didn't write in these instructions, but I think it's a good idea to get simple git. And fortunately, that one is on OS4 Depot. So that one you can get using Odyssey directly on your Amiga. So just type in sgit on OS4 Depot and you will be able to download and install that one. See, there it is. And once you've installed all of those, then you will first need to build and install GL4ES into your SDK, which comes from this location on GitHub. This time you can fetch it on your Amiga using this command line. Using simple git, you go sgit clone and you get it from here. And then you want to check out version v1.1.6. Once you've done that, you go into, create a build directory. Let me do that right now. I've already got it downloaded. Yeah, I've got a build directory as well. Now, this is one of the downsides of CMake on the Amiga currently. I hope this will improve, is that you always mostly end up with these big, long command lines where you have to set various options. So you need to enter all of this on the command line to tell it you're building on AmigaOS4, you want to build a static library, build it for CLib4, and this is where it's going to be installed. And once you've done that, CMake will configure the project, and you can do a make. By the way, right now there is a bug in the ELF library. I hope that will soon, an updated ELF library will come from Hyperion soon. I've got the beta version right here. With the previous version of the ELF library, there's a bug in there that causes CMake to use up all of the system's RAM and then eventually get an out-of-memory error, and you can't finish building Raylib. So as I say, I hope that will be out soon, that Hyperion will issue an update, which will allow everybody to use this. Otherwise, there's always building Raylib on a cross-compiler. Not as nice, I know, but you might need to resort to that. Anyway, once you've done this, then you need to copy the compiled libgl.a over to the SDK, to SDK clib4/lib. So I guess you go get Dopus and copy it across. I've already done that, so I'm going to skip that step. You will also need to copy the include files. So copy the contents of the include files here from GL4ES over to SDK local common /include/gl. You only need what's inside this directory, not the rest, is what my notes say. And once you've done that, then the next dependency, you need to build glfw, which you need to get from GitHub, from this URL, from this location. So once again, you can use sgit to do that. I've already got it. And then you want to follow the same process. So you create a build directory, you enter the build directory, and then you have this big, ugly, long CMake command line to configure it. So all of this, disable the shared libraries, building for OS4, all that sort of annoying stuff. And then you might have to deal with this CMake, the current version of CMake that I'm using has these annoying pop-ups for something that is not a drive or a volume. And once you pushed escape enough times, it will let you configure the project. Actually, you might need to do configure twice. Sometimes you get an error. Great, it worked. So now you can do a make, and this one has an install. So once it's built it, you should be able to type make install, and it will install everything into your SDK. And then you can finally move on to building Raylib itself. So once again, you check out Raylib from GitHub, from this location. And you want the Raylib 5 branch, which is the current default. And then another big, ugly command line for CMake. So, whoops, I need to go to the right directory. Raylib, create a build directory, and then you've got this even longer CMake command line to tell it what all the command line options are, all the options. I do hope at some point that we will be able to just do a CMake .. and it will build, it'll have all of these options already pre-configured. But for now, this is what you do. Yeah, I have to do the cancel the insert volumes that non-existent and nonsensical. There you go, it's configuring. Let's figure it out. It's a desktop platform. Well, we told it it's a desktop platform. We told it to use OpenGL 2.1. It's still, yeah, this is one of the most annoying things of the current version of CMake. I hope, once again, I hope that there will be a newer version coming out soon. And after pressing escape for what feels like 1,000 times and waiting, you will eventually have Raylib fully built. And then we can enter the examples subdirectory. And let's run texture sprite anim. When I write it correctly. Textures sprite anim. There you go, you've got Scarfy running on AmigaOS4. So that's it for now. See you next time.